The janitor pushes his cart down the corridor, and nobody looks twice. That's the thing about invisibility. It's not a superpower, it's a costume. And tonight, inside the most visited museum on Earth, the Louvre, Paris, fortress of civilization, home to the Mona Lisa, guarded by hundreds of cameras and armed security rotating every 45 minutes, a man in a blue uniform and rubber-soled shoes has turned himself into furniture. His name is Assane Diop, and he is not here to clean floors. He is here to steal history. The target sits in a climate-controlled display case on the third floor, Marie Antoinette's diamond necklace, a piece commissioned for a queen who lost her head. Hundreds of perfectly cut stones, strung together in an arrangement so breathtaking that even the security guards who walk past it 6 times a night still glance sideways at it without meaning to. Tonight, it goes to auction, sealed bids from the ultra-wealthy, the kind of people who buy things not because they love them, but because they can, the kind of people who treat history like a shopping cart. Assane has been planning this night for 25 years. Not this exact night, not this exact auction, but this moment, the moment he takes back what was stolen from his family, has been burning in the back of his mind since he was a teenager standing outside a prison, waiting for a father who never walked out. Before we go any further, you need to understand something. This is not a heist story. It is a revenge story. The heist is just the opening move. The father, the frame, the beginning of everything. Babacar Diop came to Paris with nothing but discipline and a willingness to work. He found employment with the Pellegrini family, one of the oldest, wealthiest dynasties in all of France, the kind of name that appears on charitable foundations and government advisory boards and all the other places where old money launders its reputation. Babacar worked in their home. He was trusted. He was loyal. He was, by every account, exactly the kind of man you would want working for you. And then, 25 years ago, the Pellegrini family's prized possession, Marie Antoinette's diamond necklace, insured for tens of millions of euros, went missing. The police came. Evidence was gathered. A suspect was named, Babacar Diop. The evidence was thin. The case was rushed. The verdict was never really in doubt, because on one side of the courtroom sat a black immigrant with no money and no connections, and on the other side sat the shadow of Hubert Pellegrini, a man whose reach extended into every institution in Paris that mattered. Babacar was convicted. He was sent to prison. He maintained his innocence until the very end, and then one morning in his cell, he hanged himself. His son Assane was 14 years old. Sit with that for a second. 14. Old enough to understand exactly what happened, young enough to spend the next 2.5 decades letting it calcify into something cold and purposeful and absolutely unstoppable. Assane didn't fall apart. He didn't disappear into grief or bitterness or self-destruction. He did something far more dangerous. He educated himself. He read, he studied, he trained his mind and his body and his instincts. And he found a blueprint in, of all places, a stack of books his father had given him as a child. Arsène Lupin, the gentleman thief, master of disguise, a fictional character who robbed the rich with wit, not violence, and always, always walked away clean. Assane had read every story. Then he read them again. Then he stopped reading them as fiction and started reading them as instruction.
The Louvre, night of the auction. Back to tonight. The auction is scheduled for 9 o'clock in the Denon wing. 43 guests have been invited, each one vetted, each one obscenely wealthy. They sit in gilded chairs in a room flanked by Renaissance paintings, and they wait for a man at a podium to tell them what they're allowed to spend their money on. Assane has been inside the Louvre for 11 hours. He knows the blind spots in the camera grid. He spent 3 weeks studying the security schematics, 2 of them working as a legitimate contracted cleaner on the day shift, cataloging every angle, every rotation, every gap. He knows which guards take longer bathroom breaks and which ones never deviate from protocol. He knows that the case holding the necklace uses a magnetic locking system that can be disrupted by a very specific frequency emitted by a device no larger than a television remote. He knows all of this because he is, in every sense of the word, a professional. But Assane cannot walk into that auction alone. He needs chaos, controlled chaos, the kind that pulls every eye in the room toward one explosion so that nobody notices what's happening in the corner. So he hired 3 men. Tension spike number 1, the loan sharks in the room. The 3 men Assane brought in are not nice people. They are loan sharks, street-level operators who collect debts with their fists and occasionally make people disappear. Assane found them through a series of intermediaries, offered them a cut of the necklace's auction value, and gave them one job: create a scene during the bidding, an argument, a physical and loud enough to scatter the security response. He did not tell them about the swap. He did not tell them about the fake. He did not tell them very much at all, because assane diop never tells anyone more than they need to know. The auction opens. The bidding starts at 8 million euros. Numbers climb fast. These are people who experience money as an abstraction, a figure on a screen, a score in a game only they can play. 12 million. 20, 35. The air in the Denal wing thickens with competitive energy. This is what the ultra-wealthy come to auctions for, not the object itself, but the performance of wanting it more than the person next to them. Assane sits in the 3rd row under the name Maximilian Berger, a German art investor whose identity he constructed over 6 months with the kind of attention to detail that would embarrass most intelligence agencies. He is dressed in a 40,000 euro suit. He speaks when spoken to in flawless German-accented French. He looks exactly like someone who belongs here. He bids. The room watches the number climb. 40 million, 50. The air in the Denal wing thickens with competitive energy. This is what the ultra-wealthy come to auctions for, not the object itself, but the performance of wanting it more than the person next to them. Assane wins the bid at 63 million euros, and then, exactly on cue, the room explodes.
The 3 loan sharks move simultaneously from different positions in the room. One of them grabs the display case transport box, the locked container the necklace is transferred into after the hammer falls. The other 2 block the exits, creating a wall of muscle and aggression that sends the 43 guests scrambling toward each other in a shrieking knot of designer clothing and genuine terror. Security floods the room. Radio chatter erupts across every channel. The lights, somehow, stutter and dim for exactly 4 seconds. 4 seconds. In 4 seconds, a practiced hand can do quite a lot. The loan sharks are already moving for the service exit, the box tucked under one arm, 2 of them running interference. They hit the corridor, they hit the stairs, they're in a car outside within 90 seconds, burning through a red light on the Rue de Rivoli with 63 million euros worth of French royal history rattling in a box on the back seat. Assane Diop watches them leave from the window of a 2nd-floor bathroom. He is completely calm. He walks downstairs. He nods to a security guard he recognizes from 3 weeks of shared cigarette breaks. He pushes through the staff exit into the cool Paris night, and he puts his hands in his pockets. His right hand closes on something cool, something heavy, something with a lot of very small, very brilliant stones. The real necklace. He swapped it during those 4 seconds of darkness, a replica he'd had crafted by a jeweler in Antwerp, indistinguishable to the naked eye, switched with surgical precision, while every camera and every human eye in the building was pointed at 3 men running the wrong way with the wrong box.
The loan sharks will be arrested within the hour. The box will be opened. The fake will be discovered. The investigation will spiral into confusion. And assane Diop will be 17 blocks away, sipping coffee. The aftermath. The investigation begins. The Paris police response to the Louvre heist is exactly what you'd expect. Massive, loud, and 3 steps behind. By morning, every major news outlet in France is running the story. The 3 loan sharks are in custody, insisting they were hired, providing a description of their employer that matches approximately 40% of adult males in Western Europe. The replica necklace is being studied by forensic specialists who keep using the word extraordinary in their reports. And the real necklace, 63 million euros of irreplaceable French history, is gone. Detective Yusuf Gadira is assigned to the case on its 2nd day. Gadira is not the kind of detective who chases leads. He is the kind who sits very still and reads. He arrived at his desk at 6 in the morning with a large coffee and a folder of crime scene photographs, and he spent 4 hours not looking at the photographs, but looking at the space between them, the pattern, the shape of the thing. He has seen something like this before, not in a case file, not in training, in a book. Tension spike number 2, the detective who reads. Gadira keeps a full set of Arsène Lupin novels on the shelf behind his desk. His colleagues think it's an eccentric hobby. They are wrong. It is a filing system.
Lupin in the stories pulls off a spectacular theft from a famous institution by using a disposable crew who never know the full plan and who are almost always caught while he walks away. The crew is the distraction. The crew is always the distraction. Gadira pulls The Blonde Phantom off the shelf, reads a chapter, puts it down, picks up the crime scene photos again. He circles something in red pen on the auction seating chart. 3rd row, seat 12. The winning bidder, Maximilian Berger, who vanished from the building in the confusion and has, since then, proven entirely impossible to locate because Maximilian Berger does not exist. Gadira stares at the circled seat for a long time. Then he opens his laptop and starts searching for other cases, thefts, cons, identity frauds, anything with this particular shape. Meticulous preparation, a sacrificial crew, and a clean disappearance. He finds 17 incidents over the past 8 years. Each one unsolved, each one, when he looks closely enough, rhymes with a Lupin story. Gadira closes his laptop. He's not smiling exactly, but there is something in his expression that wasn't there an hour ago. The particular tension of a man who has just realized he is not hunting a criminal, he is hunting a ghost. Episode 2. The Dead Man's Message. 3 days after the Louvre. Assane is in his apartment and the necklace is already gone, fenced through channels so deep and clean they don't generate paperwork. The money is distributed, the operation is closed. But Assane is not done. He was never going to be done with just the necklace. The necklace was a statement, a first move, a way of saying to Hubert Pellegrini, wherever he is, whatever insulated corner of privilege he currently occupies, I know what you did. I am coming. What Assane needs now is proof. Not proof for himself. He has never doubted his father's innocence for a single day of his adult life. He needs proof that will hold in daylight. Evidence that will strip Hubert Pellegrini down to what he actually is in front of people who can't look away. His father, Babacar, left something behind. Not a letter, not a confession. Something more careful than that. Something designed for exactly this situation. The situation where his son has grown up and is looking for answers in the only places they could possibly be hidden. The message points to a name, Etienne Comet. Tension spike 3, going inside. Comet is not a free man. He is currently sitting in a maximum security prison 40 kilometers outside Paris, one of those facilities built into the landscape like a punishment, all reinforced concrete and perimeter lighting, and the constant low sound of institutional despair. He has been there for 11 years. He does not receive visitors. He does not communicate with the outside world. There is no legitimate way to get to him. For most people, this is where the plan ends. You cannot simply walk into a maximum security prison. You cannot request a meeting with an inmate who has no documented connection to you. You cannot... Assane spent 2 weeks identifying a career criminal named Louis Galette, who bore a sufficient physical resemblance and whose upcoming arrest was, through careful intelligence work, entirely predictable.
He spent another week building a set of identity documents that could pass rapid intake processing. He spent 3 days constructing a chain of events that would result in the police picking him up, processing him as Galette, and shipping him to exactly the facility where Comet was being held. Then he walked into the path of an arrest and let it happen. The intake process is designed to break you down fast, strip away your clothes, your name, your sense of self, replace all of it with a number and a jumpsuit and a set of rules that exist mainly to demonstrate that the rules exist. Assane moves through it like a man wading through water, present but not touched by it, watching everything. He has read everything ever written about this facility. He knows the gang hierarchies, the guard rotations, the informal economy of favors and threats that runs underneath the official one. He knows which corridors to avoid and which to use. He knows, most importantly, where Etienne Comet spends his afternoons. But knowledge and execution are 2 different things, and maximum security prisons have a way of accelerating the gap between them. Tension spike number 4, blood on the floor. The first test comes on night 2. 3 inmates, heavy-set, organized, moving with the practiced ease of men who do this regularly, back Assane into a corner of the yard after dinner. This is ritual. Every new arrival gets evaluated. You either demonstrate that hurting you costs more than it's worth, or you become available for whatever the hierarchy needs you for. Assane moves through it like a man wading through water, present but not touched by it, watching everything. He has read everything ever written about this facility. He knows the gang hierarchies, the guard rotations, the informal economy of favors and threats that runs underneath the official one. He knows which corridors to avoid and which to use. He knows, most importantly, where Etienne Comet spends his afternoons. But knowledge and execution are 2 different things, and maximum security prisons have a way of accelerating the gap between them. The confession in the margins. Etienne Comet is older than Assane expected, hollowed out by years of institutional routine, moving slowly, skin gone to gray, the kind of man you stop seeing when you look at him. But his eyes are sharp, and when Assane sits down across from him and says his father's name, Babacar Diop, those eyes go very still. Comet worked in the prison library during the years Babacar was incarcerated. He knew him, not well, the way you know someone who occupies the same confined space, who you see every day, but never quite reach through the glass of parallel imprisonment. But Babacar left something in that library. Comet wordlessly gets up, moves to a shelf, returns with a battered copy of the Confessions of Arsène Lupin, spine cracked, cover worn, pages soft with handling. He hands it across the table. Assane opens it. He turns the pages slowly, and at first there is nothing, just text, just the familiar rhythms of a story he has read 100 times. But then, in the margins, in the gutters between paragraphs, in tiny, careful handwriting that would be invisible to anyone not specifically looking for it, his father's handwriting. Letters that, assembled across a dozen different pages, spell out a sentence. I am innocent, framed by Anne Pellegrini. Tension spike number 5, the name that changes everything. Anne Pellegrini, not Hubert, Anne, Hubert's wife. Assane reads the message 3 times, then he closes the book and sits very still for a moment. This is new information. This rewires the map of what happened. Hubert Pellegrini has always been the face of the Diop family's destruction, the powerful employer who decided an immigrant worker made a convenient scapegoat for an insurance fraud. But the mechanism of it, the false confession, the signed statement that sealed Babacar's conviction, that came from somewhere else. It came from Anne. Why? On whose instruction? To protect what, exactly?
Assane pockets the information along with the book and sets the second phase of his escape in motion. The exit, the body bag. Faking your own death inside a maximum security prison is objectively one of the most complex logistical challenges a human being can set themselves.